Tonight on 8.5-bit, Game of the Year 2020.
Woo!
Yay.
Welcome, friends of all designs, to episode 285 of 8.5-bit, and tonight is our yearly special episode of Game of the Year, which we've only done once before, but I liked it, so we're doing it again. Maybe we'll do it again next year. We'll find out. And this is our top 10 list of the year, but to make it a little bit more interesting, it is a game. And I should pull up the old rules.
Oh wait, did we have buzzers last time?
No, we didn't have buzzers. No, it's a lot simpler than that.
But next year, this will be my game of the year.
Yeah, it was trying
to really throw you for a loop.
The original design of it was to. That's a good one, actually. The original design of it was so that it wasn't just people counting down a list of their personals and then, of course, hitting someone else's number one before they get to their number one. So we actually don't cut down our list at all. We guess each other's lists in turn by turn, and then we talk about the game. Also, let's just talk about games that aren't actually on anyone's list because we guess them and we're wrong.
Right. Yeah.
So for points, you get 1 point for correct. So you guess someone else's game. You get a 1 point for a correct game. You get another point if it's in the correct position. So you might
hard one.
So you might say heads is your number 8. And if it is, I get 2 points. You get... Is that a clue?
Does being on this show count as a re-release?
Yeah.
Paul has a nice conditioned box version. It's basically new.
Okay, we're all very excited, so I'm just turning us all down a little bit because we're just so hyped for Game of the Year. You also get another point if it's on the other person's list, not your own list. So you can't just say...
just guess my own games.
Yeah, you just can't guess your own games to get easy points. And at the end of the game... if nobody can guess the game on your list, you get an extra point for that. And this year, there's an extra 3-point bonus point.
Oh. Wait, extra 3-point bonus point?
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's a 3-point bonus point. Okay. Well, you can go. We have to go now.
Yeah.
You have to write down what you think the show's Game of the Year will be.
Oh, okay.
As we nominate one that gets sort of the most points and is most consensus across.
But write it down and not show it because it gives away our own
And
list.
Paul's don't show it yet. We're writing it down so we can reveal it at the end.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that we're all going to write the same game already, but we'll find out.
There's two that I'm thinking.
That could be the consensus across it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. It's fun. I am your host, Paul, and joining me tonight are my good friends, James.
Hello.
And Sam is back.
Hi. I am.
Hi. Yes.
I exist.
You do exist. And you were so excited before, and now you're so quiet.
Sorry. I'll be excited again.
Oh, I can't hear you at all. Wait a sec. Speak for me.
Just muted me. That's all.
No, I didn't. Yeah, your mic's gone funny.
Oh, no.
Tech control, tech support.
How
Speak now.
How about now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Hooray. Hello, James.
Hello.
Good. That's great work.
Success.
Everyone
So
is a winner.
I have my... Do we put it somewhere?
Just put it in your
Fold it
cleavage.
Fold it up so we can't take...
Here's
can't
one
see
I
it.
did earlier.
I
secretly wrote every game and I'm going to sleight of
I'll
hand the right one in.
I'll put it there.
Every game we've talked about is in this.
Don't
I'm
look,
not
you
looking.
bastard.
I'm not
Okay, so as is tradition, we will start at
All the way
Sam's
down
end.
here with the
Yeah.
person who doesn't know how to do this properly.
That's all right. It's sort of... I make it up as I go along, frankly.
That's true.
So you can nominate either James or myself.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a wild number guess.
Yeah.
7. Just because it's random.
Okay.
Struggling.
Wow. Wrong, but so close.
Dang it.
Like, creepily close. So no points for Sam, but struggling was very cool. It was basically single players heave ho.
No, hold on. Creepily close, but no points whatsoever.
No, yeah.
It's not even on the list. That's
It's not
how
on the
close
list.
it
Struggling
was.
is not on the list. No. Physics based grab game. My favorite part was just in the first level where you can grab a microphone and go because you're a weird monster. Yes, but no points for struggling. Okay.
Right, close enough.
Okay. James, I've gone back to the points list. I might write the ones we guessed that aren't in there.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to guess Sam.
Okay.
Mine's the easy pickings.
And I'm going to guess...
Because it's just every game you've spoken
But
about.
no, but I'm going to have a wild stat.
The order is the difficult bit.
It's probably going to be very wrong. I don't even know if it's going to be on your list. I'm going for number 7.
Why is 7 the starters? But we'll find out. Yeah.
Because it's not quite in the middle, but it's...
And I'm going to say Warcraft 3.
Nope, not on there.
Warcraft 3.
Not at all. You know what?
That re-release was terrible.
I know, but he said he didn't play much, and I was thinking back to what you spoke about in the show, and I remembered that you were like, "Oh yeah, it's all right."
It was decent enough single player.
Yeah.
I'd never played past the 10th mission or whatever, but
So, okay,
I did think about it, and I went, "No, I have too many other games."
Okay, so it did
There
enter
are
your
more
mind.
than 11 to 12 games above it.
You guys are playing like some really weak games.
Well, we're starting off slow.
I'm going for like the
weird
ones from
The
the
weird
start.
ones first.
Yeah.
Okay,
I really
there's
should be
some
going
obvious
for, I
picks.
should be going for the low hanging fruit. Really.
Yeah, speaking of low-hanging fruit, Sam, your number 2 is Hades.
Nope. It's my number 1.
No, I was tossing between two. So only
Right at the top.
So is Hades also on your list, James?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I get 2 points.
Do I
Two
tell you the
for
number
me.
of what it was for me?
Yes, because I'll put it on your list.
Okay, it was my number 2.
So you should just guess
I should have guessed James. Yeah, James was more of a wild card with it.
right at the top.
And for me, it was my number 4.
Number 4. That's
pretty good.
Okay. But
So
yes.
now we have to think, what 3 games did Paul like more than Hades?
Oh, I can think of one.
Who can tell with Paul?
Yeah.
Even me, I was like,
Some weird
yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, Hades, that was a good one.
It really was.
That was.
I'm still chugging my way through it.
Yeah, I need to go back. I just because I played so many other things, but it did get me, and I did love. I mean, I know I've spoken about the show many times. The God mode in it because it did mean the game does progressively make you more powerful as you go anyway, but it did just give me that extra buffer to make me think that I can just finish this. This isn't some game that I'm just going to be hit a brick roll at some point. It's going to keep making itself easier to the point that it basically is just going to solve itself for me.
Yeah.
It scratched every itch for me.
Yeah, and I think it was kind of telling that I didn't even like that genre. But it had me going for a while.
I was talking to someone about it yesterday at a Christmas party, and they were telling me there are companions in the game. I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know about these.
I'd completed about 20 runs by the time I got my first one. It was I was like, what? New mechanics? What is this?
There's so many
So
things.
far
that-
in.
I think the last new thing I got was fishing.
Yeah, fishing's cool.
Yeah, maybe something after it, but it's like, it just has everything. Yeah, I suppose if... God, any suggestion I make just makes it a different game. It's, storytelling, really great music. I get to play it on Z Games
Beautiful
quite
music.
regularly.
Beautiful art.
Yeah, great art. Look good. Plays well. Very varied. It encourages you to vary it up as well with little bonuses on each weapon, and then once you open up the customization of the weapons, and there's so many options, but it feeds you the whole time. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
The hard mode options for extra runs, it's just like, here's 40 things you can change your run with.
It is the most accessible roguelike in that anyone can get into it, and it will drip feed you in without making you feel like you're limited at the beginning. You feel like, oh, I still got plenty of options. Because I often get annoyed with games where it's like, okay, well, play it for 4 hours before we start giving you enough complicated things to make it interesting. I'm a little bit like that at the moment. I'm playing... actually, I suppose I shouldn't say games in case they come up.
Playing some games.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 points for Paul to start this off with. Sam, let's see if we get some more low-hanging fruit.
If Hades is number 4 for you...
If you're guessing for me, I got to remind myself of my own order.
Yeah. I may be going in the wrong direction here, but I'm going to go 1 up for 3 and say Spiritfarer.
Oh, very close. It's my number 2.
Didn't go up high enough.
I actually had it as your number 1.
Oh, it was pretty close.
I know you really
it's
liked
my
it.
number 2.
Yeah.
So...
And James, I don't think it's on your list. You didn't really play it, did you?
No, I didn't play it.
Spiritfarer is such a weird game.
It is. It was not what I thought it was going to be, but it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Which was pretty good.
A lot of the mechanics are almost entirely pointless and don't really tie into anything else.
No, they just exist.
And
chill.
it's busy work, but it's not anxiety-inducing busy work. It's just
not Animal Crossing busy work.
Yeah, and the characters, like every character in that game, I suppose I'll give a little hint to my number 1 here. They're just characters that stuck with me. Like, they all had an impact in me. And there is, like, you're thinking about the frog and the mushroom kid. Holy shit. That storyline is fucked up. Like, in a really good way.
It deals with some very deep issues very well.
Without being like too heavy-handed and hackneyed about it, it feels very natural and very mature the way it deals with it. And because the game is, if you somehow is you are collecting these spirits and taxiing them to the afterlife after solving some problems and getting to know them for a while, and you can spend quite a long time with some of these spirits, and just taking them on is like every time I'm like, I know it's just mechanical. I know once I get all the boxes ticked, it's like, and without saying, like, I mean, there will be spoilers throughout this episode because we're not like, so there's one character that you don't take; they just leave, and you don't get to say goodbye. I'm like, but
my heart.
but their room is there. Their stuff's still there. Where did they go? It's a beautiful game, and I remember when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that looks like some cool art. I bet it's shit. That was my initial thought. Some weird farming on a boat game. Yeah, it's just some indie wholesome game crap. And I loved it. I probably cried a half dozen times at least in that game. Like good tears. I liked it a lot. Okay, so that was 1 point for Sam.
Yay.
Okay.
It's more than 0.
I gotta remember to actually write the points down or I'll forget.
Just make them up at the end. All right, I'm going to guess yours.
Me? Everyone's on me.
And I'm actually going to try and guess your number 1.
Okay. I did do some slide hints.
Got some clues now.
I think it's Paradise Killer.
2 points for James.
You beat me to it.
Paradise Killer's weird. And it was hard thinking about how it actually numbered my list. Because there are games that are much better made than Paradise Killer that I played this year. Paradise Killer is weird and janky and has a whole bunch of systems that are pointless and time fillery, but don't really matter to affect the game at all. But when it comes to like the effect the characters in the game had, but then the way the story... I don't know if you remember my rant when I spoke about the ending of that game. It has no... So there is no in-game solution.
There's no canonical ending.
Yes. There is canonical, like, what happened.
Yeah.
Like, that's not up for debate. But how you want to use that information and who you want to punish and how you want to shape that world, it's 100% your choice, and the game doesn't validate you.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's just what you did. Go on with your life now. And I know it pissed off a lot of people. Yeah. Like, I like reading through stuff, and people are like, but it didn't even, like, acknowledge that I did this. I'm like, yeah.
That's the point.
Because it doesn't give a shit. Yeah. You got to remember, every character in this game is a fucking evil psychopath. Like, you can straight up at the end of that game, like, you can just say, oh, yeah, my best friend did that, and just shoot them in the face. And everyone's like, cool, moving on. And your character is the kind of character that would do that. It's all up to the player to how they decide to interpret that. And I remember when I was talking about it, you can finish that game in 10 minutes. You can just go, fuck the investigation. Yeah. Just start the trial. Just go, I don't know who did that. I don't know who did that. I don't know who did that. Oh, main crime. The guy you thought did it. He did it. Yeah. Shall we go? Dinner? Lunchtime?
Snacks?
And it's a perfectly valid ending. I mean, you're robbing yourself of a very interesting world. Because it is just such a strange thing. A world of evil cultists trying to raise gods that keep building islands that get infected by demons. Yeah, it's overly complicated, but it's not really. It's
odd.
And it's so like 80s synth wave, cool, like everyone's sort of happy vibes, and then it's like, and then you just walk into the area where they execute all the humans, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right, these guys are not good. So Paradise Killer was my personal number 1.
It's my number 6.
Oh, so that actually means 3 points for James.
Yeah. After my stumble with Warcraft 3.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Throw that one out there, and now you're like, right, strong comeback. Throw us off our game.
I should have made like a little algorithm here that did the maths on what games gets what. Yeah. I think I did that last year, but I didn't think about it this year. Okay, it's time for me to pick. Okay, so we're missing one for James. So let's see what James is. Okay, James's. I have it as number 1, so I may as well just stick with that. I feel like he's number 1. Oh, I feel like I'm making a mistake. It's definitely on his list. It's Half-Life Alyx.
Not my number 1, but it is on my list. It is my number 8.
Okay.
I was tossing up whether one of you would have that.
Yeah, well, not my number 1, but definitely one of the best VR experiences I played. It's still the VR game I've played the longest.
Yeah.
Like, I normally when there's like, those long 8-ish hours, that's long for VR, I don't get that far. But I think the Half-Life-ness, and how I guess they did the kind of like the Half-Life 2 thing where they varied it a lot from section to section.
I call it the Titanfall 2 thing.
The Titanfall 2 thing. I mean, there's definitely sections of the game that stand out more than others. Like the Jeff section is especially good. But yeah, like that was... I don't know if they do another one, if it would have the same effect. Like, it pushed a lot of units, like a lot of headsets. And I guess it was meant...
But even then, it's a lot of VR headsets and a lot of units of that still... It dwarfed compared to what Half-Life would do.
Yeah.
And it had, like, no impact on... like the wider discourse.
That's what I think. It's been long enough now that like the idea of it would be like this will be the thing that ushers in like VR. But I didn't really see it.
That's happened.
Yeah, like I guess now having
it was a good showing of how to make a lengthy game in VR.
Yeah.
But I think VR has gone down the pathway of not having that as the main selling point.
Yeah.
It's definitely gone down.
Like I still like my VR experience is still I'll play it for 20 minutes and I'm kind of done. But still a very good experience. They tried a bunch of things. They solved a bunch of problems, so other people didn't have to. And yeah, still like if you've got a VR headset, it's worth a play.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to try again. Actually, it's partly I completely rebuilt my computer a few weeks ago to try it again.
You had some technical issues, didn't you?
Yeah, it had annoying hiccups as I played, and hopefully, even if it wasn't my computer, it's like their end and they fix it too. But yeah, I just had the inconsistency of the interactions in the world just like blew my mind.
Yeah,
I'm like, why can they throw a barrel at me and it hits me, but when I throw a barrel at them, it doesn't hurt them at all?
Yeah, well, the reason I actually didn't have it higher because it didn't actually come in and show we've solved all the VR problems.
No.
Like, I'd still have things where like I tried to move a body and it would clip into geometry and explode into the air. Like, it wasn't perfect, but it was still very good.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, it was. I'm starting to write down the points as well now. Okay, that means it's me to do a pick. Okay.
That was
Then that was your pick. It's
Was it me?
It's
Oh,
Sam's
there.
turn.
That's right. It's James talking. It was
It's
me
his
that
fault.
picked.
Yeah.
I'm good at
Paul
this
just
game.
wants to do all the picks.
Game of the year, Paul. Way to go. Okay. Sam.
All right, Paul.
Yes.
I don't know what number.
Okay, just throw one out
So
there.
Let's say 8. Just
Okay.
let's go down the bottom again. It might not be.
It won't be.
Where is
you'll be wrong.
Barotrauma on your list?
It is not
God
on
damn
my
it.
list.
I'm bad at this.
Because it's very good, but it's...
But you were clowns.
Barotrauma is an amazing game. It is a living game. It is
There's a lot
still
of good updates coming
not
out for
really
it.
technically at version 1 yet. I went and checked. So, and its first release wasn't this year.
Oh, so it's like
Oh,
it's neither.
man.
So it's in between. It's in middle release.
I went back and added that to my guest list earlier when you were like, early access is fine.
No, early access
yeah,
is
I
fun, but
guess.
yeah, it's like it didn't release this year,
Technically, yeah.
and it didn't hit its full release
Yeah.
this year. So I did not have a. But
So
Barotrauma
next year, give it a year.
Yeah, Barotrauma's pretty bloody amazing. Okay, James.
Okay, I'll go for Sam again.
Okay.
Have Sam's done his number 1?
One was
Yes,
Hades.
one was Hades,
Yeah.
2 was Spiritfarer.
Okay, so 3 is Baldur's Gate 3.
You are correct.
Yes.
Oh, good work.
You knew it was like just whatever's next on the
Yeah,
list.
It's like
it's in there.
It couldn't be below 3. Like, no, this is a sure
It
bet.
nearly was.
Oh, really?
It nearly made it to number 4.
Oh, okay.
It just snuck in ahead of what I've got it for. But yeah, early access.
Yeah.
Not a full release,
And-
but I have 69 hours in
Really?
it in Steam. Nice.
Because like I loaded it up and I was like, oh yeah, this is good.
I've done.
I'll wait for
I've done one full playthrough of my brother. I did I'm classing as full playthrough solo where I hit a point where I ended the game without seeing all of the content. But it felt correct for the character I was playing as at the time. I've done half a playthrough of Elliot. But then the big patch came out that means you have to revert to use the old saves. And then I'm halfway through a second playthrough of my brother.
And has it been different enough between each playthrough?
Every single one of those has been different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been crazily different. My current second playthrough of my brother is us messing around with the mechanics of the game now. We've both got characters that are high strength and we're just going around shoving everything off rooftops, which is the easiest way to play the game.
Yeah.
Because everything takes far too much fall damage. But it's also the funnest way to play. You just get like shoves on minotaurs. And
Divinity 2 was a bit like that as well, wasn't it?
Divinity 2, you just made the most of all the surfaces. And what they've done with the latest patch in Baldur's Gate is they've taken away some of the surface stuff that was happening that isn't true to what D&D would do. So now it's all about shoving. But yeah, like a lot of the quest choices or dialogue stuff, it's all been very wide. Like, I wouldn't say wildly different, but it's been different enough. And there's been things we've been able to do by making different choices that we weren't able to do in the previous playthroughs. So yeah.
I'm still just like
I think
waiting for it
after-
to be done.
Yeah.
But I know I'm going to be waiting a really long time.
Yeah, probably. I think after this current playthrough, I'm just gonna put it aside.
Yeah.
And unless they release like a major pre-release update with a bunch of new stuff for Act 1, I probably won't touch it till release after that point. But it's definitely got its hooks in me.
Because I
Keen
expect
to see what they do with the story.
I expect it'll get to a point where it's going to be out soon, and the first act is basically done.
Having talked to my brother about it, we are both convinced that if this first act was the game, but it was polished and bug-free, we'd both be perfectly happy with the purchase.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, if that was it, other than the fact there's clear hooks to what's going to come afterwards, there's a lot of content in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many maps are there?
There's technically 2, but they're both very big, and one is the Underdark, which also has all of the basement maps in a lot of extra areas. There's a lot of smaller enclosed maps, but there's two big major areas. And I mean, when I was playing, I was like, oh, I've done like most of my main quests, and there's still half the map I haven't seen yet. And then you go down to the Underdark, and it's the same thing. You do like part of the main quest, and there's half the map you haven't seen.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. And on the second playthrough, we're still finding stuff that we missed, which is pretty nuts.
Huzzah. Sorry, I'm just working out how to do the points down in the background. But yes, I mean, I'm not going to touch that until it fully comes out, because I'll just...
It's definitely the safe option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that, I bet when it comes out, because it's me, I bet I'll play Act 1 and then I'll get distracted by something else.
That's enough.
I will say the funniest thing about it thus far is if you do one of the main lines one way, they have a single sex scene that's currently animated. All the rest have holding slides, coming soon slides, but it's janky and broken. And the last thing I ever expected to see was was my character 69ing with a female drow, but her model was rotated by 90 degrees. So it's all like offset and janky. It was very humorous.
That's Polska.
Okay, now let's see. Here we go. Points. We've got James only has 2 picks on his so far, and I feel like I'm pretty solid with most of his stuff.
Yeah.
So let's say your number 3 is The Last of Us Part 2.
Nope. It is my number 5.
Close.
Good video game. I'd say,
but it's agenda.
But it was a go work, go broke. That's the.
But they didn't.
But they did very well.
They made a lot of money.
They went woke and got rich.
Got woke and got rich. I mean, it's narratively speaking, it is one of the strongest games I've ever played. It's very good. I didn't really put it higher because the game part itself is not my cup of tea.
That's why I haven't played it.
Yeah,
and it's also not bad. It's just not.
No. It's not bad at all.
No.
I mean,
In fact, it's fucking phenomenal in many ways.
Yeah, but like one of the great things about it was that there's such granularity to the difficulty that you could just tailor the experience you want. So, like for me, like the most frustrating part I have in those games is the stealth section. So I just go stealth bar, absolute easiest, please, and then it's basically impossible to get spotted. But you can still get spotted. Like it did get to a difficulty where I did still die, but I'm not there for the stealth. I'm not there for the crafting. I'm not there for the combat. Like
it's the crafting I hate. I hate the searching through drawers and everything. It's like it's a mechanic that I do not like in video games.
Yeah, so like none of it I'm interested in. But the delivery of the story was very good. And it's just like it is. You can just go watch a YouTube video of it, and you'll probably get about
Yeah,
as
like
much out of it.
I've seen
as,
all of it
yeah,
through streamers.
Yeah, because
and
I'm
I'm very happy with having done so.
Yeah, because when I played it, because I hadn't finished Last of Us 1, because basically my PlayStation died and I lost my save and that wasn't backed up, and I was halfway through the
You're not
game.
going back
It's like
into that.
I don't like you enough to go back, so I just watched one of these like movie cuts,
Yep.
which is like about 5-6 hours or something like that, and that was 100% necessary going in. I don't know if I would have liked it more if I had played the first one. I don't think so. I think just knowing the plot and what happens was enough to really enjoy Last of Us 2. But yeah, not higher because the actual gameplay part, like, not bad, but not my thing.
Okay. Getting into it now.
I can't wait. I think I'm getting angry.
Sam.
Remember how like you got really mad at my?
I get mad at a lot of things.
What was,
Just
what,
your
what was the
list
one I had?
every year?
What was the one I had? I had
was
the
something-
the Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
That's my like number
We're
4
like,
or
no,
something.
that's
like
incorrect. You mean the other one?
Oh God, out of
Yeah,
world.
'cause
James, you meant to write
because-
Out of Wilds.
Yeah.
That's what it was last year.
I
That was an incorrect game to like. Everyone can have their opinions except that one. Yeah. But hey, James,
Yeah.
did you know that Witch Eye got another release this,
Oh, does that mean
this year?
Does that
So
mean it's on the list?
could
Maybe.
technically be. I'll spoil it now. It is not in my top 10.
oh shit! I better cross that one off.
Okay, Sam, I believe. Because
Yeah.
I remembered that it was me this time.
Jamesy boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere around number...
We know his 8, his 5, and his 2.
I feel like it's higher than I'm about to say, but let's say 9
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and go with Squadrons.
Oh. Yeah. No, it's higher than that.
Yeah.
That's my number 4.
I figured it would be on
Yeah.
there. I'm like, I have no idea where in this
Yeah.
list it's going to be.
Yeah.
Ah, damn, I would have been wrong anyway. I had it as 3.
Yeah. I'll actually be very surprised if you get number 3, because my number 3, there's been recent developments which moved it up significantly. So Squadrons, the throwback to classic X-Wing TIE Fighter games, but a really loving throwback. Like, it is the game that people have been, like, fans of that genre have
They've
been
been
asking
waiting
for.
for, yeah.
Like, they 100% delivered.
Is it on your list at all, Sam?
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, the VR in it.
I enjoyed it a lot.
The VR in it is amazing.
I'm currently, because I'm gonna buy it before the sales end.
Yeah, it was like, you get it for like $30 or something. Oh, was it less? $15
Less,
at the
yeah.
moment. Yeah.
But I'm like, ooh, do I want to buy it on PlayStation or PC? Because I don't like play. Because my dream. Here's my dream.
Yeah.
That they add support for PS5 and then it uses
And
the
VR.
controller. Except that
Yeah.
it can't be done with VR.
Oh,
Dang
yeah,
it.
you're right.
You can't win, Paul.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got
Oh,
you got a
like,
weird
it's
tick in the
recording, right?
audio. Yeah.
Whew.
That's right. I think
Yeah,
it's really
yeah. I mean, so the VR implementation is really good. If
Fine, I'll get it for PC.
yeah. I mean, it's
It would be
yeah.
real nice on those haptics, though.
Also, if you get it on PC, you can borrow my old HOTAS and play with
Oh
that.
yeah, I wanted to try it. I mean, I'll try it and be terrible and then just use a controller, but I want to try it.
Yeah, it's and yeah, HOTAS support out of the box. Just everything. It's just like here you go. Even like getting in both Empire and Republic kind of stuff.
What I liked was they did all the stuff. It looks great. It's pretty much sells it. It sits pretty much on that X-Wing vs TIE Fighter level of the simulation anyway. Yeah, you can argue a little bit back and forth, but it does most of it, and it's fun. But then they're like, oh, by the way, one and done, no support,
Yeah.
the game's just done. And then, oh, by the way, here's
Yeah.
some extra stuff because it's done so well.
Yeah. Oh, we're not going to pay. We're not going to charge.
We
for
feel
it.
bad about it
Yeah.
being done.
Yeah, we're sorry we said it was all over. 'cause
Had
it's
some
not.
B-wing stuff, and
Yeah. Hopefully it leads to more of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And more just releases of that scale would be nice to see. It's like, yeah, it's like medium budget. It's the high production values. It's for a niche. And guess what? The niche loves it.
Yeah. Well, starting to see now. Hopefully, that's an example of. Yes, large companies, you can invest a bit of cash. Like, it wasn't like...
You can try new things / redo
like,
old things really
yeah,
well.
like, a lot of that just would have been built off, like, the Battlefront engine.
probably.
Oh, undoubtedly. Or at least take a bunch of their resources.
Yeah, yeah.
It was something we actually mentioned last week when we were talking about Kickstarter not really being much anymore. It's like, because Kickstarter did its job.
Yeah, well,
and
that's it,
part of
yeah.
its job was showing that things like this
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
viable.
it's demand.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think we would be having Squadrons if it wasn't for Kickstarter.
Yeah. It shows demand.
Okay. James, it's your pick.
Okay, all right. Who has had the least revealed?
I am only on 3, and you two are both on 4.
All right, well, I'll go with Paul,
That's me.
and I'm going to go your number 9.
Okay, my number 9 is... Oh, well, so actually, you might get this.
I'm
We'll
going to
find
say
out.
it's Maneater.
No. It's not even on my short list.
Oh, no. I was hoping it was a sleeper. It just like snuck in there.
Okay, so I think I've made this comment. I don't know if I said it on the show. Where with all of the games I have on the PS5, the game after I finished up Bugsnax that I gravitated to the most was Maneater, which whilst it has a PS5 version, is a PS4 game and it is a B grade game, and you're just a shark and you just go around fucking things up, and I have a secret love of it.
That's why I thought it'd be on there. Be on there somewhere.
Get in.
It is just it's. I mean, it's also not good, but it is good.
You gotta remember, James. Paul writes this list without the emotion, so the secret loves won't find him.
Oh no!
What is logically my favorite games?
I outwardly love so many things. No, Maneater was close, and I was excited when I realized that the original was still this year as well. I'm like, oh, it does count, but do I dare? But no Maneater on there. Okay. Let's stick with James because I feel like he's got some. Yeah, so he thinks that his 3 is going to be hard to pick. So
Watch him get it now.
God, could it be no?
New developments, Paul.
Could
Something
it be
with new
number 1?
developments.
Doesn't mean it's lower. It seems like
that's a hint. There's been new developments.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a feeling that I might know what it is, but I'm not ready to take that gamble yet. When there's still some obvious ones. So I'm just going to say number 1 because it can't be 3. And should I just go to 6? I'll just go to 6, and it's Doom Eternal.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Doom Eternal. Oh, hold on.
Was it
Is
on
it
there?
6?
How did you not get on there, Doom Eternal?
You didn't write it on there.
No, it is
Even
now Doom Eternal.
James is now surprised.
No, I'm subbing that in because it was actually on my list, but it's when I was ordering it. I must have somehow.
Oh, you must have somehow
Yeah.
deleted it.
So
So
no,
we've just pushed
no,
6 off.
I'm going to give you it because it would be.
Did you push 6 off, or did you just shuffle to 10's
No,
gone?
6 lost its point because 6 also was a little bit contentious about whether to have
What
it there.
was 6?
No, I won't say it
no,
because
it could be somewhere
someone
else.
else's. So I
Yeah,
won't say it. But yeah, no, you deserve it because those
It
points
should be there.
As someone who didn't really like the first Doom that much, the remake,
You didn't?
I never finished it.
Oh, okay.
And it was good, but I didn't really like the environment so much. It kind of got a bit samey to me. I played a few levels and just kind of lost interest in it. Doom Eternal, they totally fixed that. All the levels were really different. It was almost a sneaky Quake reboot as well. Like some of the
There was a lot of quakiness in there.
Yeah. But yeah, like it just delivered on what I wanted. Like, I mean, still, like I knocked it down to easy because this is how I play Doom games. Because
no, you didn't start it easy. You just got down to easy by the time. Like,
oh no, this one I'm pretty sure I jumped into easy straight away.
Did you?
Because I remember from the
I thought I remember talking to you and you're like, "Yep, I'm down to easy now."
Oh, it could have been very quick. Like it was probably like first level because I don't play that game to feel weak.
No.
Like I'm there for the power fantasy, and even knocking it down to easy, like
Easy's still hard.
It's still hard, but it's just it's almost like a different game. Like when you speak to people who are playing it on ultra violent, it's like they're after this
so
like
specific.
like they want to be able to look at the area and then like learn the strategy to like how you do it and like
Just want to go in and shoot things.
Yeah. For me, like no, I'm 100% there for my power fantasy.
The chaos gates are really good for those battles. Just like just keep running, just run endlessly, just loop and shoot and get out of there quickly.
Yeah,
it's
like
great.
I unlocked everything. Like I went through every level, and it had all the nice quality of life stuff of like before you finish the level, you could see where everything was. Well, you see what you had.
My problem was I didn't notice that until like 3 levels in.
you
can't go back.
It's too late now.
I think there was like 1 or 2 things I needed to look up. Like I just couldn't figure out how to get there. Then some of them were a bit tricky. But yeah, like it was just basically just an improvement on the last one. Good times. And then the DLC kind of sucked. I thought I'd go into the DLC, go, this will be fun, and then it was just kind of boring
and
trash.
that's what pushed it off the list and then back onto the list.
Yeah.
James read it and went, DLC was crap.
Yeah.
Didn't put it in there.
Okay, Sam, it's your turn for a pick.
Look, we memed a little, but I'm going to go 10 on Paul.
Okay.
Because I feel like we memed hard on it. Bugsnax, is it at least on the list?
Bugsnax is not even in the honorable mentions.
There we go.
Oh.
But it has to be honorably mentioned for how much we memed on it.
Yes, Bugsnax I think is an incredibly unique game worth playing, but I'm still like,
Not on the list.
it's 7 out of 10. It's
So it's at 7.
Yeah, Bugs
It's not
was
on my
like-
list either.
No.
I figured I'd mention it.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly flawed but unique experience, and I'd really like them to sort of have another crack at it. Because it's
Polish it up a little.
yeah, it lacks a little bit of polish. I think they pushed it for the release of the PS5. It's got a few
Yeah.
technical issues, and like
So I'm
there's still
glad-
so much I loved about
I'm
it.
glad I had the fast hard drive on the PS5.
Oh God,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
It is a slow loader.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so many fun designs in that, and I'm not someone that normally is like, oh, the thing I love most about games is the characters, but half the games on my list are like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
good characters? Like on my list so far, it's like Paradise Killer, Spiritfarer, Hades,
We just had to find the right
which
type
are
of
all
characters for
heavy
you.
character-based games. Yeah, while still being completely different genres. But yes, no bug snacks, I'm afraid. Okay, James.
My pick.
Well, that picture was Cheryl.
It was. She was very pregnant. Okay, so you still have only had
I've only got 3 on my
3.
list.
All right. I'm
We're
going
bad
to
at
go...
Paul.
What's your highest unrevealed number?
3 is my
All
unrevealed.
right, I'll go your number 3 as Paper Mario.
Did Paper Mario make the cut? I feel it. No, Paper Mario came in at number 12 for me.
It's number 7 on mine.
Yes. Okay. Well,
All
that's
right,
still 1 point.
One point.
for JC.
Yeah, I thought that one would be there. I thought she'd be high.
I mean, I really liked it,
I mean,
but
you-
it again is a bit of a. It's just a bit of a uneven design that
Okay.
game. It had a great story. Again, I love the
Yeah,
characters. Oh god.
It's one of the few games for me that, like most games like that, I tend to go in with the goal of doing all of the things. And then I got 75% of the way through and I went, I'm enjoying this too much to do the menial task of doing all the things, so I'm just going to
yeah,
finish it.
and some of
And
those
I
things
enjoyed
are
that
just like
much more.
yeah. Some of those little side things are like, oh, that's monotonous and
Yeah, and I
really
don't
not
want to
fun.
do
Let's
this
just not
over and
ruin my
over.
time. But really,
I
good
did do
stuff.
the raft minigame perfectly. I did do that one, but I didn't want to go back into the House of Ninjas for a 5th time. So, give and take.
bloody House of Ninjas. Anyway, yes, I mean, I really, really liked it, and I think it's very funny and it's beautiful and it's very inventive. I think they needed another pass at the core concept of that rotation minigame, because I think it was both too simple and as soon as there was any complexity in it, just like
Too hard.
too hard.
Okay, yeah.
It's just
They
like-
needed. I think they needed the middle ground, and I have a feeling that the timer mechanic on it, the fact that it was timed,
yeah,
like,
need to let you experiment a bit
turns
more and
made
and
it more difficult to balance.
making that everything can be defeated in one round.
Mm.
It took away any interesting strategy you could possibly do it. It's like, oh, should I prioritize them over them? It's like, well, you don't prioritize anyone. You get all of them at once every
Yeah.
time. It's like, oh, okay, that's not as fun as I wanted.
Yeah.
There were a few times where they used it, especially in the boss battles, where it's like, this is good. You're getting it. This is what you should be doing all the time. But yeah, it just came a bit rote in the main game, unfortunately. But everything else about it I thought was really good. Okay. Points going up. That means it's time for a poll pick. Oh, okay. I haven't done James a little bit, so let's see. Look at Sam, and I reckon he's going to put some. What's the next highest for you? At 4, I think he actually quite likes Cyberpunk.
I've just realised that I've put 2 number 3s on my list.
Oh,
And they're both
Hold on.
does that mean you have one too many?
It's alright. I can knock 10 off, and everything from.
So long, Cyberpunk.
You're very off mic at the moment, by the way.
All right. So because you're keeping track, Paper Mario is actually number 8.
Alright, I can move it.
Paradise Killer is actually number 7.
Okay.
And I think everything else is still good because Hades, Spiritfarer, Baldur's Gate are at the top,
Okay.
and the rest haven't been guessed. I can knock that bottom
So,
one
is
off.
there a Cyberpunk on there?
There is a Cyberpunk on there, and it is number 5.
Fuck.
I had that not on my list. I had the guess though. That doesn't count.
I now have quite a bit of time in it, and
1
it's
point
only
for
crashed
Paul.
twice,
Mm.
and I'm having a lot of fun, regardless of all the issues.
See, I found my secret to enjoying the game is to just mainline it.
Mine's the opposite.
Oh.
I've figured out where it sits in my gaming library as what do I feel like playing, and what it's doing is it's scratching my Dishonored/Thief itch,
Okay.
Oh yes.
as well as my Skyrim itch. So I am taking it very slow, and I'm doing all of the side stuff, but I'm doing them all very slowly, very stealthily. Like, I'm going in and taking half an hour to clear out a building.
Okay.
Like,
No.
I'm full stealth now. And I'm enjoying it a lot. It is scratching that itch heavily
I
for
get
me.
my sword, and I run towards things and slash them with my sword.
What I have accidentally done is the Skyrim thing, where I found a revolver that does far too much damage, and you can put a silencer on it.
Oh,
So now I'm doing, 2.5 times crits from stealth, and then everything just gets one shot with headshots, and now I've made the stealth archer from Skyrim. But I'm trying not to use it as much and going in for regular stealth takeouts.
See, I think,
But I'm enjoying it. And then, I go, okay, I've spent 3 hours doing this. I'm going to go do a main quest and progress the story.
I think-
and I'm really enjoying the storyline.
I think if it had like a really fast quick load,
Yeah, it's a little...
Then I'd probably be more for stealth.
It's not too bad I'm just running on SSD on
Yeah.
PC, and it's maybe a 20-second load at most.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad, but I'm trying to, not use quick loads and quick saves.
That's not how I play stealth
But
games.
occasionally, every now and then a bug will hit, and someone will see me through a wall. I'm like, that's bullshit. I'm gonna reload.
Yeah, I had a bug in it where the NPC carrying the quest item just fell through the floor.
Yeah, there's a lot of clipping going on in
Yeah.
that game, and a lot of walls that apparently are completely transparent. A lot of bodies that can be seen from half a building away. Yeah, but overall, it's an enjoyable experience. And I didn't go into it with the incredible hype that most of the internet seemed to have. So it was kind of...
That was me bringing it down.
Yeah.
Like, I was a naysayer the whole
nice.
time. That was for you, buddy.
I was fully aware that it wasn't going to be great.
I just
I
didn't
am
get on at all.
pleasantly
I was
surprised
like-
with the gunplay.
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. The gunplay is surprisingly good.
I'm actually happy that
Yeah,
that didn't
yeah.
turn out to be
Like,
shit.
they have-
Because it's the bit I'm experiencing the most
Yeah,
as well.
'cause
at least...
They haven't done any shooters before, have
No,
they?
yeah,
so
it's all been-
to that be one of the most solid parts was very surprising.
Yeah.
Most surprising. Okay, Samuel.
Well, now I can't guess if Cyberpunk's on your lists.
It's true you can't. And it wasn't.
Okay. Just because it's the one that just got knocked off of my list, and we all played it, and we all, as far as I remember, enjoyed it. Let's go for number 10 on... Paul still hasn't got number 10?
No, not yet.
And I don't even know it was going to be on there. Savage Planet.
Journey to the Savage Planet is
Yeah.
my number 9.
Oh, goddammit.
Well, actually,
So it's my number 11, technically.
I had that guessed as your number 10 as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
so close. Journey to the Savage Planet. I played it all the way co-op with James, and that game is so fun,
Yeah.
and I want more of
Yeah.
it.
See, I don't know if I want more because we left
I'm happy with what it was.
very satisfied.
Oh no, I just want
Yeah.
more of that kind
Yeah.
of game. Like when it comes to co-op games, they're not normally exploration based, and that was great. It's like, oh, we've got a new area, let's run off, and
And they weren't too big.
no, it was a nice, concise game. I think it only took us like 6 hours or something to do the whole
very
game.
long.
And it's a bit Metroid Prime-y.
See, that's what I found I liked about it. It's a Metroid like
Vania,
Vania game without you noticing too much.
Yeah,
and then,
it's quite natural, and
I
they
think I
don't
played it
go
for
over
quite a
game.
bit, and then I stopped and went, wait a second.
Yeah. Well, and
this is a Metroidvania in 3D.
Because the world was a nice size as well. Like when you got those new abilities, you'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I remember that
You
thing that I saw."
You could remember
Yeah,
where everything
all right,
was.
I'll go back and
And
get that thing.
It was a bit like one of the games I low-key love, the Deadly Tower of Monsters, where it's like you keep going up and you look down and you
can
see
what you've
everything
done
that
and
you've
what you've
been through.
accomplished. Yeah.
And if only, because it is actually sectioned off into like 3 or 4 different areas. So you can't just quite jump and fall all the way to the bottom. But if you could,
Yeah.
oh, we
Yeah.
pushed that up to number 8. That wasn't on anyone else's 10?
No.
We just missed out
No,
on both
no,
of you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was my fake 10, apparently.
Yeah. And it
I
was
can't count.
it was slapstick funny, which is not a kind of
Yeah.
comedy that normally
It
works
was
in
well
video
yeah,
games.
yeah.
It was
Like-
well written.
Like kicking some of those little bird creatures.
Yeah.
Oh god! And there's that one that you shoot it splits into 2, and then
Then it goes into 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just sort of screams.
Yeah.
The little screaming raptor chicken.
What a game!
Yeah, no,
Journey
that
to the
was a good
Savage
one.
Planet. Yeah. It's a good one.
That is a game that I did 100%.
Yeah.
That was enjoyable.
James,
All right.
time for another pick.
Who has currently the most options?
I have the most options still.
All right. What numbers haven't you picked?
3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10.
I'm going to go your 7.
Uh-huh. Let me check what my 7 is.
And I'm going to say Carrion.
My 7 is
Stop stealing my guesses.
Carrion.
Yes!
Double points for
Yes!
James.
Completely stole my guess. Come on, man.
Not anyone else's list?
No.
Well,
James has
you don't get
forgotten his
points for
list.
that.
No, I don't get points for it. No, actually, it was my number 10.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We still put it on your list,
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
just
yeah.
doesn't give you
Is
points.
this a strategy? Because if I guess things which are also on my list, it's
Yeah.
robbing other people.
It's true. Like, if you said your
Yeah.
own number 1, it means that... Oh, I mean, no, it just takes the 1 point away. Yeah. So.
But yeah, that was a real good video game. It made me feel a bit bad. Remember Parasite Lost? The old
the game that we mentioned more than even the developers mentioned.
the old Kickstarter, which is a very similar concept, but just not as good. That movement mechanic of the giant blob in that 2D space, shooting at all the arms, that was so very satisfying.
They must have spent so much time making that work because it feels so natural. And then when you actually look at it, it's so complex.
Yeah.
And the fact that when I realized that it didn't just move you where you clicked, you had to have a way of physically getting there. It's just that the game made it look so natural most of the time.
It was
that
fully physics driven.
Yeah.
How you got around that world through shooting off these tentacles. But it was all AI driven, exactly like how it was happening. It was crazy.
And of course, I got to do on the episode we reviewed that. I got to start it with "Carry On My Wayward Son," which was a joke that did not land at all. I had to explain it, oh well. But yeah, there was a few monster games this week, which was when that was sort of the hint earlier because earlier in the thing you said struggling at number.
Oh, that was the
7.
one that was close to
And
it.
I'm like,
I was like, I'm gonna guess Carrion
so
at some
close.
point.
Yeah.
James took it away from me.
Right position,
Yeah.
monster escaping from a lab, but
even
a different kind of one.
The way they gated through that game was just so well done.
And more controversial than I realized. A lot of people hated the fact that you got... Because as, basically 3 sizes of the monster, and each size had different abilities. So if you needed to use an ability, you often had to shed some of your mass to get small enough to use that ability. Some people are like, why would I ever want to do that? It's like, because it makes it more interesting to sometimes be weak, and sometimes be strong, and sometimes...
Yeah, that was so clever. Like, if they had just gone like this, like, vertical progression where it's like, I'm now super strong all the time, and it just let you have those moments of like, all right, now I'm full strength, I'm just a destroying machine, or oh shit, like I'm going through the vents, and if I get spotted, I'm screwed.
And
it was very clever
when they add the possession mechanic where it's like, oh, I'm going to take control of a little man and walk him around and get him to climb into a mech, and now I'm controlling the mech. It's like, holy... I was not expecting these interactions in this game. And probably the weakest part is at the end, if you want to go 100%, the lack of a map is really difficult.
Yes, that was
but
where...
during the game, I didn't need a map.
Yeah, because I ended up 100% of it. And I remember that. I think that was the one thing I complained about with it. Because I really wanted to finish this thing. Because it also wasn't a... There was lots of portals between places.
Yeah.
So you couldn't really build up a mental map of what it is. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's time for me to do a pick. Okay. Let's see who has the more surefire ones left. Okay. That seems like one that I probably should have said earlier. But let's just see. What points are left on Sam? Sam, is your number 4 a Nintendo game where you pick up apples? Animal Crossing.
It's not.
What?
It's not even on the list.
It's not even on your fucking list.
Not even on the list.
What?
Yep.
I feel like you're lying to yourself.
I'm honestly not.
You piece of shit.
You know why it didn't go on my list?
Because you're a liar.
Because I played it a lot.
Yeah.
And I got really invested, but once I put it down, I never picked it up ever again.
But how much time did you
haven't
play
touched
before
it
you
since.
didn't pick it up
It was a good amount, but not enough to warrant going on the list.
Give me a rough number. Is it over 100?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think it's around 80 hours.
Still,
That's a high number.
That's still a high number,
But-
you liar.
For a game of the year, a game that is based on doing things throughout the year that I put down after one season and never touched. I don't even think about it anymore.
This is my number 1.
What a liar. Wow, I didn't expect it to be
Legitimately?
Legitimately my
Oh, wow.
number 1. And it's not even totally the game. It's the game and the timing. Like
It was pretty perfect release.
yeah, for
It's
like
hey everyone,
and this is
here's
probably
a shitty lockdown year.
it's
Have a game.
It's probably it's a bit unfair because like they didn't plan for that.
No.
But what was going on when that game was released and what it offered, not just me, but like a lot of people all around the world, like it did a lot of good. And I can't really think of another game that has had that like much of an impact when the world was in kind of a shitty spot.
Yeah.
And so while it's an Animal Crossing game, it's a good Animal Crossing game, I really got to give it a lot of cred for what it did for when it came out. And so that's why, it got my number one.
See, I actually kind of agree with Sam.
I agree with James on that. It is one of the games of the year in general, but personally, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was when it came to like long-lasting feelings. Like this isn't like these characters really stuck with me. I'm like, yeah,
which
whatever.
is apparently your thing now.
I've got it. Yeah. Apparently, it's now my thing.
Pivoted to character.
But I also have
gameplay.
like 160 hours. In
I
that
mean,
game.
I probably
The thing is, right, what I look at is I look at the 11 games on my 10 list,
Uh-huh.
and I go, I had fun with all of those more than I did playing 80 hours of Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's where I actually
enjoyed all 11 of these games.
I
more
agree with both people.
than I did Animal Crossing,
I-
but I also played far too much Animal Crossing.
Well, because I played a lot with Cheryl as well. Like this is the social experience that opened up. Like it was really something. Like if COVID hadn't happened, it would not be that high.
yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't have had any time for that game.
yeah.
I had a kid. I had COVID and a kid.
Yeah. So that's why it's so high.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Nice.
Okay, Sam, it's time. Your time for a pick.
Ooh, I'm running out of
Oh man, my number 7.
options and
Can't wait to.
ideas.
It's probably not even technically shouldn't even be on there. But anyway,
You cheater. You're always cheating.
So I don't want to say the ones I have left on my list because I feel like, although I feel a couple of them should be obvious, they're kind of left fieldy.
I mean, gotta have a guess at some point.
What's James got left?
James still has his 3, his 7, and his 9.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about it.
they're all good ones.
I wrote down a guest game, and now I can't remember if you played it.
I mean,
Or if you
go for
have
it.
gone
Go
in-
wild.
Shit. Let's go for the 9 because I don't even know if
Okay.
I'm now second guessing myself completely.
Yeah.
Do you have Ghost of Tsushima on there at all?
Nope.
Okay.
Because I didn't really
Should have
play
second
it.
guessed myself. That's what I thought. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I wrote it down because like
Yeah.
it's a big game this year.
I've
And I'm
been
like,
playing
wait,
it.
I should have guessed you.
It's not on my list. It's a very good game,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
terrible at this.
Yeah, it
part of
was
things,
it
yeah.
was there was other games which I just vicariously
Yeah.
played through Cheryl, and I just
That's what it was.
Yeah, I just didn't
There we
include
go.
them. 'cause,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I've got at least one game that I had on your list. I'm like, I don't know if James actually
No,
ever touched
yeah,
the
just
control.
watched it.
no, and
Still
I
counts.
probably should have at least touched the controller once for it to be on the
Nah.
list.
Okay, James, it's time for you to do a pick.
All right. How many Sam got?
Sam still has his 3, 6.
No,
9
3
and 10.
3 is Baldur's Gate. I've got
Oh, sorry.
4.
No, he's 4, 6, 9, and 10.
Okay, I'm gonna say you're 10.
Yep.
And I'm gonna say Crusader Kings 3.
Nope, not on there.
I just started typing it because I also had that as your number 10.
That would have been 12.
Oh, okay, all right.
Oh, no, I had it as your 8. Oh.
I spent one night playing far too much of it and enjoyed myself immensely. And I am now very soon about to get back into it because I've just discovered
yeah.
that there is a mod for one of my favorite book series by Brandon Sanderson.
Okay.
That's just like, here's the start of his first book in the series, As a World in Crusader Kings. And they've done a full overhaul mod, so they've included like all the magic system,
Oh, okay.
all of the new titles, and like the state of the world at the start of that
Yeah.
book. I'm like, well, now I'm going to go play that for like a day and then forget about it again.
I feel like there should be like,
But
I'm sure someone's making it, like a Game of Thrones version of that.
there is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, I think, was in the first Crusader Kings, and then
Yeah.
they've just
Ah,
updated
okay.
it
Yeah,
for the later
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
As they've
It seems
gone
like a
along.
no-brainer.
Yeah,
Like
it's just
that should be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight shot mod,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
immediately. But yeah, there's a lot of good mod maps out there, and I've only just discovered that they all exist. So I might, lose some nights
Yeah.
at some point.
All right, I'll think. Okay. Well, we both
Still
thought
a
it's going to
choice,
be
though.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That makes me more warranted that I don't think you're going to guess some of these games on my list.
so let's just discuss a little bit about Paul not understanding how numbers work.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so how many do we have left to pick? Okay, like 12 left to pick, but there should be 30 games, and I've only written down 13 because I forgot more than one person can pick the same game. Yes. So Paul doesn't know how numbers and guessing works. Okay, it's my time for a pick, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Let's stick with James.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like his cryptic hint might have pushed me away the wrong way.
Yep.
So number 3,
Yeah.
Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yes, you got it.
Oh,
Hunt,
good.
yep.
There it is.
And the recent development is
I would have put that
VR.
VR.
Yeah.
I loaded that just today. Like I actually went and
I saw you playing it earlier. I
went-
should have put it on the list.
I actually went and I bought it. Like actually bought it outright.
Oh, not even just leaving it on a Game Pass.
No, because I actually started doing the maths on do I want
you,
it,
do
and
you
I had
get
some,
anything
I had some
extra
game
from
credit.
buying it?
I just don't have to have Game Pass.
Yeah.
So that was really it. I think maybe there was another. I don't think there was any
I thought
bonus
I
stuff.
remember there being something different.
I looked into it, like, is there any real benefit? Some people said that, like, Steam VR might be a little better supported. Like, oh, okay, well, that's the main reason I want it. So, all right, I'll just buy it. And I had, like, $40 of credit, so I was like,
Might as well,
I'll
yeah.
buy it. But, yeah, like, I loaded that up today. I've been working through the tutorials again. I got my new HOTAS recently. And I've just been flying a Cessna 152. And it's phenomenal. Like, I'm in the cockpit, like, and I can see all the instruments in front of me. Like, I spent a bit of time already in there just learning the basics, and that's where, like, the Cessna 152 is just like a fantastic plane if you don't know how to fly, because
yes, I agree, of course.
yeah, because like it's so
The right choice.
it's because it's like the cockpit's very simple. It's like it's minimal controls.
Covered in dials.
Well, there's no fly by wire. Like it's I'm pretty sure it's actually all like the rudder. It's like you're actually pushing the cable. Like it's very like mechanical. Where like I also loaded up like some kind of Airbus something, and like I was doing the tutorial
Too much,
and it's
yeah.
talking about like all like the different points the throttle are going to for different things and turning this on and off. I'm like, I understand trim, and I understand yoke
Type of milk.
like. I understand like how to get straight and level flight. Like these things I can, yeah. But just how they've taken that like really complex simulation and then married it with the map data, where I can just like go, oh, I'm just going to fly from Brisbane to Caboolture, and like sure, like for Australian
It's
cities,
our Las Vegas.
surely, yeah. Like I know that like it's not going to have the detail of all of American cities, but like I'm flying over Brisbane, like the silhouette of the Brisbane jutting out, out of it. It's all right. The
it's
river's
about
right.
as high quality as it would be from a plane window.
Yeah. And now having that sense of I can look out, I can, like where previously when I played it, I'd have like the controls like on a second screen, but I'd still be limited here, and I'm using the, the joystick or whatever to like move my head. But now I'm just looking around, and now when it comes to like doing like flying by landmarks and things, it's like I can just look at it. Yeah, so it's completely changed the experience. Like now it's like, okay, I feel like I'm in a plane.
There's two things of Flight Simulator that I've discovered over the past month. And one is it's great background noise.
Yeah, I heard someone actually jumped into the back of a plane, put on like the simulation of the VR, and just put on autopilot and did like a flight like across the US.
So one of the streamers I watch in the D&D world also has a small flight pilot's license in the US, and because of COVID, she hasn't been able to go out and fly. So she's now swapped to flying in flight sim, as if like doing all the flights she would normally be doing, and like she talks through everything she's doing and stuff. So I think I'm learning some shit by osmosis. Yeah. But it's really good background noise because it's not anything you have to pay too much attention to. And it's wonderful and it's relaxing. You get that whir of the engines.
Yeah, like I've done a night flight, just like a local night flight before, and it's really nice. Like because once you're in the air, you just going straight and level. You just look around, listen to the the engine sound. Like it scratches a lot of what I like in Elite, where like I'm just like I'm in a cockpit. There's the right sound. Like it's just sort of like this. Like
I mean, I knew I had to have a cockpit game for you.
So that one, So my number 3.
Sweet. Okay, so I guess I'll do my thing, and then I'll update everyone on the scores.
Yep.
Okay, so James only has 2 games left to pick.
One, I'd be very surprised if anyone gets.
Okay.
The other one, I'd be, yeah, you could get that one.
Sam.
Yeah.
Now, is your number 6 Risk of Rain 2?
Nope.
Is it on your list?
Nope.
What? Again, what a lie.
I enjoyed it with you guys, but
Yeah, actually, it wasn't on my
Doesn't
list
rank.
either. Because, yeah, I enjoyed it, but I
Yeah.
never went back to it.
I enjoyed all the games we played together, but none of them rank.
Oh, no.
And that's just giving you a massive slew of things you can cross off the list. Because that's half the games I've played this year.
Okay. Well, I'm a sucker. So, that leaves us. Currently, I have 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
James has 8. And Sam only has 3 points.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to
far.
bow out because I've ran out of things to guess too.
Oh, no. You can't just use your imagination.
I don't have imagination. I'm a programmer. I just do.
Let me see. Bloody sneaky James.
There's one you're going to hate me for it.
It's pretty good. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So as far as so my number 8, I don't know how this works as a hint, but I'll give you something. My number 8, I have never reviewed on the show or discussed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Easy.
And was recently on a heavy discount, and you might have seen me playing it on my Switch.
I don't know. He plays a lot of weird Switch
He
games.
does.
Yeah.
It's not weird. It's not weird.
Playing
This
that
might be
bloody
the most
puzzle knockers.
straightforward.
Yeah.
Is it
Block
puzzle-
knockers.
Is it block knockers?
It's not block knockers, I'll tell you that. But block knockers is so amazing. So block knockers I've got for
Okay.
review. This isn't the review, but we're taking a sidetrack with block knockers because we've got plenty of time. And why
Why
not?
do that? What numbers do you have left?
I've got 3, 6, 8, and 10.
Okay, I'm gonna guess your 10 next.
Okay.
Go for block knockers.
But block no, don't go. It's not on there. Block knockers is this game. It's a puzzle game where you physically run around a grid and there's blocks and you push them into each other, and when there's a collection of 3 or more, they turn into the picture, which is a sexy naked lady. And are they bugs? I can't remember. And bugs appear, and you've got to like fight them with the blocks, and it's
Okay.
like some weird PC 90s like bullshit game
Yeah.
of just like, well, we've got this weird
It's
character.
like a
and
Sextra
something-
style thing.
well, kind of. I just mean it's just like it's random elements
Yeah.
thrown together. And again, like when I played Waifu Uncovered or
Yeah.
whatever, where I'm like, this is a stupid sex game, and then I end up like playing it quite a bit. I'm like, it's
Hooks
just
you in.
It's got some weird hooks. It plays a bit different. Yeah, block knockers. I'll have a full review of that when I get a bit more playtime in. Okay, so to have a
Actual guess.
Okay,
Because I've just remembered it came out this year. Do you have Murder by Numbers on your list?
it is on my list, but only in my honorable mentions.
Well, it
Close,
is. Hold on.
It is not in
Yeah,
my
it's-
list.
It's my number 9.
Oh,
Oh,
that's my
there we
number
go.
9.
Another.
Yeah.
Murder by numbers. It's not on your list, Sam?
no. It probably would be in my honorable mentions
Yeah.
if I
So
remember.
I loved Murder by Numbers. I mean, I guess I should let you speak.
Yeah.
It's on your list.
Well, I love Murder by Numbers. The reason it's not as higher because I didn't actually finish it. But I still played.
did any
it.
of us finish
Yeah.
it?
Yep.
Oh, you finished
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I
One
still,
puzzle a night until I got it done.
I still played a lot of it. I'm a real sucker for Picross.
I wasn't. And then I played it.
well-
and now I'm like, wow, now I have
Yeah.
5 Picross games
What-
on my Switch.
What I love about Picross is that there's so many little tricks and deductions, but it's so easy to fuck it up. Like you can very early on, and this
you
is probably,
don't notice till the end
and this
either.
is probably one of my one main criticism is that what you actually like the image you're making, it doesn't really look like anything. Like that. That's sort of the
That's like the big. It's
Yeah.
like normally Picross games is like you're making a picture of something, and
Yeah.
this is like here's a random grid of shit. And
also, it's this.
yeah, and my big bugbear with it, like I love the story, I love everything sort of about it, but I came to dread when it came to a next puzzle because especially by the last act, it's like
They start getting really crazy.
yeah, every puzzle is hard and massive.
Yeah.
It's like mix it up a
That's why I
little.
was
Give
doing
me
one a night.
yeah. And I got a bit fatigued by it because I didn't have enough variation in it.
One of the ones I'm playing at the moment, which is just one of the regular Picross games, it's a 3-color one.
Oh yeah,
So it's 3 puzzles overlaid to make the final
Oh,
picture.
okay,
And you actually, as you do each color, you get a proper sense of like what it's going to be.
Okay.
'cause the overlapping colors obviously make another color.
There
it
was some
starts
other
spreading out.
That's cool.
Picross VN that was on Switch. I haven't got it
There's
yet.
one that's come out that's the superhero dating Picross one.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
And then there was the other one that I've been playing is the Kimono Friends Picross, which is like the little animal anime girl Picross game. It's fun.
Your number 4 is Kimono Friends.
But yeah, I went from like never really experiencing Picross and being like, those things aren't for me. I don't like those types of puzzles. And then I picked up Murder by Numbers because I was like, that looks interesting. And then
I think I was playing
really
Picross
like
on the
Picross.
DS, and it was like I think it might have been my first trip to Melbourne, and I picked it up, and it was like a hard puzzle. And it might have been a piece of paper actually, and I just like, and because it was a hard, I put it down as we pulled into Melbourne. I was like, "Where did the time go?"
Yeah. I think like what I like about the mechanic, it's probably like partly my programmer brain, where there's
some of the deductions are really nice once they click.
Yeah, because it was funny because I knew the skills that when I last played it would be long gone because it is so specific about how you can deduce. Like looking at the line and going, well,
which
can't it
what
be?
What are all the possible positions?
Yeah, what are the permutations of this to work? Well, it definitely can't be that one. Definitely can't be that one. And then building off the information that you've got, like it's just layering up the solution. Yeah, I love the mechanic.
Pretty good. Okay, so James, this brings us on to your next guess.
Okay, what don't you have, Paul?
What don't I have? I don't have 3, 6, 8, or 10.
Okay. I'm going to go your 8.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Astro Playroom.
Correct game, wrong position. Astrobot's Playroom is my number 6.
6? It's close. Close.
Yes. Astrobot's Playroom.
About it.
Yeah, it's because we didn't really go into it because we had such a big gap when it actually came out. We didn't speak about it on the show. Astrobots is potentially the best game pack-in ever.
Even better than Alex the Kid?
But
yes, James, yes.
Some of those Nintendo Land games are so good.
Nintendo Land is actually pretty up there. I really liked it. But Astrobot's Playland is it's a really fun 3D platformer. I mean, biggest fault is it's quite short, but it is
It's
also
a pack-in.
just a quick pack-in game.
It's also kind of a tech demo.
Yeah. And then, as a tech demo, it manages to use all the functions of the PS4 in ways that are like gimmicky but not shit.
And the PS5 probably.
Probably the PS5 as well. That's a pretty good get there. The theming of it is like there's 4 main zones, and one of them's based on SSD speed. One of them's on ray tracing. Like it's all components of there's CPU meadows or something. Yeah. I think cooling springs. That's right. There's a whole area
cooling
dedicated to the cooling of the PS5. And then as you walk around, every level is just packed with little Astrobots doing little vignettes, just little gags of like, they're doing a PlayStation thing or a PlayStation game thing, and then what you're unlocking throughout all the game is all bits of PlayStation hardware and nostalgia. So it's like, look, now I can go into this room and there's a giant PS2 with a giant memory card, and I can go and hit the memory card, and I can go push the eject button on all the different consoles, and a CD will come out, and it'll normally with a game that's been changed to be Astrobots. It uses the controller, it shows off all the functions in it, and it's just so satisfying. Like some of the stuff, it made me so excited for the future of the PS5 of the controller, because they could show off everything with that game. And it looks great, it's fun. It looks great, it's funny, it's good to play. And then once you've sort of gone through all the levels, it opens up the speedrunning part of it. And that, again, shows off parts of the PS5. Because, well, for one, it does the activity tracking, which is the normal stuff. Like, hey, did you realize that on level 3-2, you only got 50% of the pickups? And you just hit OK. And it takes you back there within 3 seconds. You're just there, go and get the rest of the pickups. Great. But once you're doing the speedrunning, it gets all your friends' data and everything. And so you're just in the middle of a different game and says, hey, James beat you by 2 seconds. And you just go, okay, click on the thing, and like a couple of seconds later, you're in Astrobot and it is playing, and you are doing that speed run.
That's what competitive things need. It needs. It's what I always used to have with Audio Surf.
Yeah, I had
the
with,
little
Super Meat
notification
Boy.
or the email. It's like, you've been beaten by one of your friends. And you're like, God damn it! Immediately drop everything to go back in.
And it's just a great showcase for that. I reckon if PS5 could do like a quick resume thing, so it's like, I'm going to go do that speed run, and then I'm going to continue playing Miles Morales without. And the load times are so fast, it doesn't really matter if you've exited a game. But if you could
It'd be
just
nice to have.
if they literally had that, I'll stop this game, do that, and then I'll switch back. that would be
It's wondering if it
perfection.
would take longer to serialize out the memory state.
Then it would
Then
be
to
just
just
reload the
reload the
game. It may be true, yeah. Some of those things, it's so weird when you play like something that's obviously been designed multi-platform or just PS4 on PS5. It's like got a loading screen. And you're like, what? So you've been playing Immortals Phoenix Rising some, haven't you? So between loading areas is a loading screen, and you're like falling and you collect crystals.
Yeah, it's not fast enough.
You are lucky if you get a chance to get 2 crystals.
On PC, I get 1.
Yeah, most of the time it's like 1, and sometimes I
So,
don't even get the
same,
1.
same.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys.
It's so pointless.
I need to get like I should get the Switch version just to like
Just to
and like sync the save so I can just go get some crystals by loading. I hope, and sometimes I want to read those tips.
Yeah.
And they're gone. Like, God damn it.
They do have little funny comments by Zeus too. It's some of the funny writing there.
It's good stuff. So who has a more than that anyway? So that was you picking Astrobot. Sweet. And I'm assuming nobody else had Astrobot.
I don't even have PS5, so no.
Oh, that's right. You cancelled your
I
pre-order,
did.
didn't
Yes,
you?
I decided if I got it, I still wouldn't play it that much straight away. Because the only thing I wanted was Demon Souls, and I'm happy to wait.
My wife has been playing The Witness on it.
Nice.
Seems like a good use of the power.
Solid.
Yeah. Witness is a great game. Okay, time for me to do a pick. So who has the most picks? So Risk of Rain was not there. We were joking about that before, so it might not actually be on his list. So the only one for Sam that I have not already crossed out is Noita.
At what number?
At number... Oh, just wait, what was left? I had it at number 10.
It's number 6.
Ah.
It would have been lower, but I've gone back to it since I first played it, and since they've officially released and done a
Yeah,
bunch
because
more stuff
has
to
it hit 1 now?
Yeah, it's hit
Yeah.
1, and they've added a lot more stuff, and it's just improved immensely. And I still have not seen 90% of the stuff in that game, just as far as places you can be in the map.
Yeah.
Because there's like, here's the game from start to finish, and here's the other 90% of the game around that area.
I listened to a few people talking about the game, and it's like they're just constantly finding new things out. Because it's like every
got
pixel
so many
simulated
secrets.
is what they say, but it's actually true. Everything has physical properties. and can
Every
react
single
to everything.
pixel is a material that has interactions. Yeah.
And it
And
can
it's-
just go tits up
It's
real
that
fast.
combined with a programming-based wand spell. So it hits everything I love. And yeah, it's beautiful. Most of the time it just ends up in a lot of things being on fire. Because a lot of interactions end in fire, and a lot of spells end in fire. But it's very, very well made.
I kind of want to
It's
GDC
had a lot
talk
of good
on that
quality
one.
of life. I'd love to see some of
Yeah.
the specifics on it, yeah. And yeah, I do go back to it quite often. Just to do a couple of runs through, see what else I can find. And I know there's
It feels
so
like
much
something you
hidden
can just
stuff.
always come and play with.
Yeah. And it's always what they fixed it with the 1.0 release. They fixed a lot of the repetitiveness that it used to have. So now every time you start, you have a slightly different starting loadout, like random
I
spell
assume
starts.
this is PC
Yes,
and not Switch.
definitely PC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know it was on Switch.
No, and not Switch. I assume that
No,
this
no,
can't
no.
be on
Yeah,
Switch.
no, I don't think it
I
is.
don't know, with that level of simulation.
No,
Which is always feels like shit. It's just like, but it's just this really pixely
Yeah.
thing. It's like, yeah.
That's not how exponential processing works.
Okay. Now it's back to Sam. Sam, you got any wild guesses? I have them. James only has 1 slot left at 7, and I've got
all
a
of
few.
my odd guesses have gone. I have 3 games on my list that haven't been guessed. I'm fairly sure 2 of them are only going to be on my list. One of them I'm not sure about.
I guess what I don't have is an end game of when this ends. So I
Yeah.
guess I could say when one person's list is full, we have one more round, and then it's end of the game.
Yeah.
So you could try to fill your own list to trigger that, or you could try to fill
I'm
James's.
going to say the one that's the least left field. Well, actually,
Into the mic, Sam.
see, there's one that's obvious for my list, and then there's one that's like maybe on one of yours, but probably not.
Just go wild, son. Go wild.
Just somewhere down the bottom of, let's say, James for no reason.
Okay.
Phoenix, because you just mentioned it anyway. Immortals Rising.
Not on my list.
Not on my list.
Okay.
but I was about to say it.
It's my number 4.
Because I know
Oh,
that
yeah.
you're a big
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah, I did realize when I started talking about it, I'm like,
Yeah.
I almost spoke about it
It's
earlier,
right
and I
up
didn't.
there.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
In the same way that Hades scratched the roguelike itch and the Greek mythology itch, Phoenix scratched the Breath of the Wild itch and the Greek mythology itch.
It's funny, the Breath of the Wild comparison, because, yeah, I mean, 100% it
There
is.
is enough
Yeah.
different from Breath of
Like-
the Wild that it's not the same thing.
Yeah,
No.
like...
It is far more like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. It's... Because it does some things which I prefer than, like...
I
than Breath of the Wild. But it's not the same thing.
No.
It's...
There's a lot of
Yeah.
similarities.
Yeah.
You know, the puzzle shrines are all there.
Yeah.
The combat feels a lot
Yeah.
similar.
So I asked for this for my Secret Santa for Christmas and got it, and I've been playing it a bit, especially since my baby has not been sleeping much at night. So I'm just, I'll play some Immortals. That'll kill some time. So the reason I wanted this and not Valhalla, which I got free with a hard drive, is because I go, huh, that video game looks like a video game-ass video game. And I feel like I know what I'm going to be doing, and I'll just be going around whacking some stuff with
Yeah.
some swords, and I do that. And I roll a
And-
pearl into the
Yeah.
sea.
Oh, that
Oh,
was
I
good.
love that.
Yeah.
That moment. They've been so good with the mythology aspect, keeping it what is technically child friendly and also not at the same time. By pretending that Zeus is the child.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zeus
It's
is...
so well written and voiced.
Yeah, that's what surprised me with that
Beautifully
game
voiced.
was how well written it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's how legitimately funny it is.
And it's all true to the actual like stories of Greek mythology too. So it's hitting that itch hard for me.
So what do I hate about the game? It's a relatively early mission on Aphrodite's area. And it's like, oh, the last part of it, it's here. And it points you straight towards this really, really, really hard boss.
Oh yeah.
And then you realize, oh, it's actually pointing below them. Just
Oh.
I like used
Yeah.
all my health and everything trying to, it's like, I'm barely getting it down to a fifth. Ah.
I think
Anyway.
what I
that's good.
found especially different from the Breath of the Wild comparison with it is that where Breath of the Wild was you see somewhere interesting and want to go there.
Nah.
This has that, but at the same time, all of the things you go, like all the markers you get, lead you past the other places of interest. Like,
Yeah.
no route you take will ever be like a straight line, or at least the way I play.
Well, I think that the difference with Breath of the Wild for me was like, well, I see something and I go explore it and find
It was undirected.
Yeah, well, this is like, well, I pull out the scanner.
Yeah,
and I go, yeah, it's something over there.
I did do
Here's a chest. Here's a...
on controller.
Yeah.
You just sweep and spam the
Yeah.
button and just highlight everything. You just do sweeps.
I did, yeah, it is.
But
Like, it's
there's a
good
lot
to
of
look at the
gamey
world.
game in there. There's a lot of very
Yeah.
Ubisoft gamey game in there.
But yeah, when I see
it is
like
very
that looks
enjoyable.
interesting on the hill or whatever, very rarely am I rewarded for going there. Normally it's just like, and this will be a place you'll go later in the story.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Well, can't wait.
Yeah.
Literally, you should do it now.
Yeah. But, you know, we have Breath of the Wild. Like,
Yes.
you know, we don't need it to
And maybe
be
next
that
year, Breath of the
game again.
Wild 2.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, maybe.
That would be.
On the Switch Plus.
Okay, so let's see if I can finish up James's list.
Was it my guess?
Oh, no.
James's guess
Oh, I thought you
now.
guessed it. Oh, no, you guessed them
Yeah.
all, didn't you, Sam?
Okay, so this is
Get
another...
lost.
So Sam has how many left?
2.
And Paul has how many left?
3.
Got numbers
Three.
9 and 10.
3, 8, and 10.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go your number 10.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say Old Friends Dog Sanctuary.
I've never played that game.
Oh.
Is it
Wow.
out? I don't know if it's
I don't-
released.
Oh.
I have no idea.
Well, that was a bad guess.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I think it's coming still.
Oh, I thought it was out. I thought it was because I saw it in the show notes. I was
Just,
like, I'm pretty sure
just
Paul.
save that one for next year.
I'm pretty sure Paul would have spoken about it because he loves dogs.
He did
I
mention
do.
Yeah, you checking if it's out?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not released.
Ah, well, there you go. I should have actually checked that.
So I don't remember. I mean, I assume I just phased out when Paul was talking about it because is it Old Friends? Dog Sanctuary?
yeah.
Didn't even-
Anyway.
oh, yeah.
Bad guess.
Save that
you,
one for
you
next
fuck,
year.
you fuck that one up. Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh, I can't type anyway.
What else would I? Well, I won't say else. Well, I think the other ones I got on my list, I don't think are right anyway.
Since it's not like out, do you want to have a guess of a game
Yeah, I
that
feel
is
like-
out?
I feel like
Alright.
James can
I feel
have
like
a
you can
redo
get a
there.
redo over that
all
one.
right, all right. Let me pick another one then.
Jeez, you're just like, oh, what's it? What's a Paul a sucker for?
Yeah.
Maybe a game about death or
What was
know.
all
Good
the games,
characters.
What were all the games in the wholesome
I think
games?
Kentucky Route Zero came out this year.
it did, but it's not on my list.
Okay. Oh well.
Okay.
At least it came out this year.
Okay, James. My other long guess that I was going to guess for you
you're going to be so mad.
was Genshin Impact.
No.
Oh.
But that's a good guess because
Because it makes me mad.
Because it is a bit of a
If
kind
we're
of
talking about Breath of the Wild games.
yeah. Well, because it is like a bit of an important release. Like it's to have that caliber of like game that's just given away for free running on mobile
it's a pretty
hardware.
big
It's pretty
milestone.
crazy.
Combat was shit.
It's fine.
Can't jump and swing a sword.
I think it's
Worst game
interesting.
ever.
Yeah, because like there's also there's the new Black Desert, Crimson Desert,
Yes.
and I'm pretty sure that's going to be free to play.
Yeah.
And I expect it's going
Is
to be
Crimson Desert going to be free to play? I thought it was a single player
It
game.
is a single
Yeah, well, this is where, like,
But
this is
still free to
I
play.
think it might still
this
be
is
free
this
to
is
play.
where like this. That's why
that's
like
crazy.
Genshin Impact
And
almost
it
feels
looked
like
goddamn beautiful.
yeah, like it almost feels like this new era of like somehow companies have figured out
It's-
how to make massive
It's
single player
Asian,
games.
it's Asian studios that already have far too much money,
Yeah.
just dumping money
Yeah,
into a
it's like,
free
well, we
to
got
play
to
game.
spend this money on something.
And
so
I mean, Genshin's made it back for sure.
Well,
All you
yeah.
have to do is look up Genshin on
Yeah.
Twitter and you see how many people are going nuts.
it's
over
almost
the
like
gacha.
they've figured out that it's like, well, we can just make a big single player game,
Yeah.
attach on some gacha,
Yeah, it's good to go.
and we'll make a money back. But for people that aren't interested in that end game stuff, you can just play through it and like, you'll be fine.
They give you all the
Yeah.
resources to just play it.
Yeah.
And then if you want to gamble,
yeah.
you can.
Yeah. Which is like, if this is the new free to play model, I'm okay with this. Like, this is fine. At least they're making games.
Yeah.
You know, like they're actually like something of substance coming out of it. But no, not on my list. It almost was though.
Don't know if Crimson will be free to play, but we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, I assume coming from that studio, I'd be surprised if it was pay to play.
Okay, so as long as I've been keeping up, and I may have screwed up, but I can double check before. Currently, the scores are at I am at 11, James is at 8, and Sam is at 4.
Yeah, I got one
So
more.
not a lot of movement since the last time. Okay, so let's do. If we do one more round where no one gets one, that's the end
it.
as well.
All right.
Okay, Sam.
Well, I might as well clear the next one off my list. The one that should be obvious. Final Fantasy VII Remake. That I know isn't on
Look,
either of
it
yours.
is not on my list because
Because Cheryl played it.
Cheryl played it.
Exactly.
It was
That-
on my list, and then I knocked it
That's
down.
my number 9.
Yeah. Because damn, that was a good game.
It sure is.
And I know we.
And
we-
it
I know we.
did just enough to the original
Yep,
to make it feel new.
And I know we said we'd be giving some spoilers, but not going to spoil that one.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I will.
Still not.
It's all a dream.
I'm interested
Yeah.
to see how long it is we wait for the next bit and how good the next bit will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I haven't played it yet. I do know sort of the twist because someone was very excited and wanted to tell me about it. I'm like, I probably won't play it, and they're like, oh, that's really cool. I should have.
yeah, it's actually pretty good.
I should have played that.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming until it happened, which it says a lot
Yeah,
about a
yeah.
twist in a Final Fantasy game.
Okay, James, time for you to have a guess. And by Sam getting one, he does mean that this isn't the
Yeah.
last round because we
Oh,
got
okay.
I have one game left.
Oh god! All right, I'm running out of room for Paul.
one. Remember, you
it's
get
interesting because
you get points for missing games.
you've both guessed a lot of the games that just
Trent
came off
Gently.
the list for that number
Uh,
10 mark.
What's your lowest number?
The highest or lowest?
Like you, low, like biggest
Like,
number.
Biggest number is 10. Smallest
It's
is
Ring
3.
Fit Adventures.
No, that came out last year.
Then I'm out of guesses.
James has run out of what
Yeah.
time is.
I couldn't.
His brain has
Yeah.
forgotten.
Okay, what's left on my list for
Like,
you?
I'm out of guesses.
Yeah,
at
I'm
this point.
out of guesses. Yeah.
Okay, I'm surprised one hasn't come out. I'm going to save it just because it's on my list and everything. James.
Yep.
I wanna see
I'm
if
going
we
to
got
just
any.
preempt you and say you're wrong. If you got this, I will be so impressed.
Eve Echoes was my.
No.
Oh, but you love mobile bullshit.
That one was a pretty good mobile game, but no, it wasn't.
Mobile bullshit game.
Surprisingly little bullshit.
Look,
Like-
look. Because it's a really, really, really long shot. Could I say the other really random one I wanted
Yeah,
to say?
go for it.
Dadish.
No, I didn't actually. I thought that was out last year.
I think they had a recent,
had a
they
re-release?
recent re-release.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so that's not quite the end because Sam got one in that round. So we're back around to
damn
Sam. But we had no changes in scores that
out of
round.
games, and I want to save.
Yeah, so
my
because
number
you
10
get an
to
extra
a
point for that.
Yeah,
So,
my one
so
point.
just say a game. Say Paul, your number 10 is just any game that came out that we haven't mentioned yet.
I've actually.
You forgot
my
to know
brain
count games.
has run
Just
out
say
of
any
games
video
this
game.
year.
James has been saying games that aren't even released.
I'm just gonna say a random one.
It's heads.
Heads?
Yeah.
No, Heads is not on my list. James.
I'm going to say it's a Command & Conquer remaster.
I thought that would be on your list.
It was just bumped down a bit.
Just bumped down a little bit.
What's the Gears of War one? The pop
Tactics.
Yeah,
The-
Gears of War Tactics. Gears Tactics, whatever.
Yeah, because TNC was the other one I had on yours. So my last guess. I'll just put the last one that I had for Sam, but he sort of discounted it in an earlier thing. He said, I could have put that on. I'm like, I thought you did. Your last game was Death Stranding.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, okay, so that means we are at the end of the game of the games.
Yep.
So we can put in the last one. So Paul... No, I want to go last. Sam, what is your number 10?
Superland.
It did not release this
It
year.
did.
It had some DLC this year. All
And
right.
it's that DLC that really ramped it up for me.
Superland is pretty damn good. I do
Again.
like it.
Another game where I 100%ed it, and then I got it for free from a bundle.
Yeah,
That was
yeah. So you still
basically
put...
free.
Yeah. We'll allow it.
100% of it. Then I bought the DLC because of how much I enjoyed.
Yeah, it's a good game.
The first thing. The DLC
Yeah.
is basically it's an entirely new game.
Yeah.
It's just DLC. The dev's own argument for it being DLC was it had none of the tutorialization, so it had to be DLC. But it
Okay.
is just a new game, and they tried a lot of new things with it, and it was still just as good as
What
the first
was
one.
the DLC?
Wasn't
it Crash Landing or something?
Yes. Yeah, and it's the premise behind it is where Superland was very Metroidvania-y
Yeah.
in terms of like how you got around and solve things. Crash Landing was looped, so you start crashing, you crash somewhere in the sand pit, and then you did like a small loop with what you had. And by the end of that loop, you'd gained 1 or 2 new things, and you launched a rocket, and then you crashed in the same spot, but you had your new stuff. And you went through the same stuff, but with your new
new abilities and everything.
And it's got like
Super-
4 loops, I think.
Superland was phenomenal. It is one of the most fun games I played this year.
It was so surprising.
Yeah.
I think especially because like when you loaded up, it's like the UE was real janky.
It felt like it
was like
shouldn't have been
yeah,
as good
it was
as
like a
was.
shitty
it's like-
Unity asset
It looked like
store
an
game.
asset
Yeah.
flip, but it's like it was well designed. It's like
It's genuinely
So they've
funny.
been
Yeah.
working on second DLC, which is now just going to be a standalone game because, like the first DLC, they've gone. We've put in more hours into this than we put into the original
game.
game.
Yeah.
So we're going to tutorialize it and just make it a standalone.
Yeah.
And they're working on an actual sequel.
I feel like I kind
think all of that is off the back
trust
of-
them because they just seem to have
Yeah.
really good natural senses of game design.
Yeah,
Like-
design puzzles, how to like do level design in a way that like you don't notice things until you get the ability to
The-
interact with it.
Like one of the big things in Metroidvanias is just like, oh, I see a hook up there. I don't have the hook thing
Yeah,
left,
yeah.
and they do have some of that in the game. But half the shit that I get, I go like, oh, I'm getting my new ability. It's going to be the hook thing, and it's like, it's a pencil. What?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh no, it works with these things that you haven't noticed at all in the
Yeah.
game. And
They've done a lot of like dev blog stuff, keeping up updates on how they're going, and that was like one of the most recent ones they mentioned was like they want to make a Metroidvania where like you don't just I got the green gun so I can open the green door. Like
yeah.
they don't want it
Yeah.
to feel obvious or just like you're not really learning new mechanics. You're just getting the thing
Yeah.
to progress. So they definitely seem to have a very good sense of game design.
very good. Okay, and you got an extra point for that because it was
Yeah.
not picked. James, what is your number 7?
I really like that you use DLC to get your game in. Because my number
It's
7
just fucking Destiny. We should have said it.
no. It was Hop's iconic hat, Frog Fractions.
I did have it on my list.
I nearly put it on. I nearly put it on as a
Look,
guess.
yeah, no, cause look, a sneaky Frog
I was
Fractions
like,
game.
can I guess Frog Fractions?
Yeah, they did it. They wasn't expecting a Frog Fractions sequel. It basically was.
Yeah.
They snuck her in. It's like-
Yeah. So Frog Fractions 4 and 5, I think it technically is.
Yeah. And again, it was like it's just a completely different thing. Bit more maybe adventure gamey, but only just. More visual novelty. They
Exactly what you want because the original
continuing the Frog Fractions lore.
Yeah, because the original Frog Fractions was they did the re-release on Steam, and it is just like it's a very of its time, a very influential, very kind of important game, but also short, and there's really not much to it. It's just like it's just a wild adventure. So then it's like, well, if we're going to do more of that, we'll just put it in the first game.
Yeah.
And the iconic cap Very good. And we can't say much about it because
you gotta go
that's
play
the
it.
whole thing about Frog Fraction.
Yeah.
Just can't say anything. Just
and
go play it.
and
If you
it
haven't
was-
by now,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so what I've got 3 left. So my number 3, I was surprised that it was not mentioned by either of you because I play it literally every week and I mention it almost every week on the show.
We're both stupid.
Deep Rock Galactic.
Oh, that
We're
was
so
originally
dumb.
on my list, and I think because it came out
This year.
this
This
year,
year,
but it was
yeah.
an early
It was an
access.
early access
yeah,
before that.
Shit, I think
Yes.
I
so
literally saw an article about it.
it was on
like
my
2
list,
days ago,
and
too.
I pulled it off. Like I did, it was on there. It's like, oh no, that one doesn't count. But then, it technically does because
Yeah.
it did version 1
release.
Yeah,
this
it did
year.
version one.
Yeah,
And it is like when I listen to people talk about like when the game first came out and they're like, oh, there's no variety and it's just doing the same thing and everything. It's like the generation they do for the mines in that game, there's so much variety in how they do it. They keep adding new game modes. Like the new ones are far more mechanical. So they've added one where you've got a refinery and there's 3 like basically Vespin gas things you've got to get to. I can only talk in other video games. And you build physical pipelines to them, which is good, just like there's a building mechanic in there, except you can then grind on them. So as you're pumping, they'll get broken and everything, and you can then traverse the level on these like roller coasters you have built. And as you're grinding along, you're shooting aliens and shit.
That's awesome.
And I play with a 4-person crew, and we each play one, and we're really into it. They just keep adding more and more stuff, and it's really community focused and driven. And there's so once you're in it, there's all these in jokes and everything you get. There's now that we're further in the game, there's extra things we can find in levels that like extra little encounters that happen, and we're like, oh, we're doing really well, but should we do the extra encounter? Well, we'd be mad not to, and then we die and we lose everything. It's like, oh well, and it's almost Vermintide 2-y in the amount of just like, if you want to sink hours into this to just go all the shit, you can do that. Probably not quite as bad as Vermintide 2, but boy, what a great multiplayer
I'm
game.
looking forward to
Dark Tide.
Yeah.
Dark Tide is definitely up there. Okay, I've still got 2 more to go.
Paul gets all the points.
So I've got 8 and 8. Oh, that was the one they said I have not mentioned on the show yet. Fuser, the new harmonics game, which I will be reviewing. Well, I was going to say tomorrow night, but actually no, it will be because I'll release this episode tomorrow. So tonight on Z Games. Fuser is drop mix, but without the
I was
cards.
about to say, is that basically what it is?
Yeah. And they have found more of a game in it than they did with drop mix.
Didn't really have
Yeah,
one.
the problem with Drop Mix was really cool
Drop Mix,
tech.
they tried to make a game that was kind of like Snap and wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is a little bit of that game, but what they've just done is add so many extra controls and shit in this and then gamify it all that it is fucking hard. It is just like, I've never 5-starred a song. At a certain point I'm like, I might just turn off no fail mode so I can get through this campaign and have everything unlocked. There's so much extra control. Like there's programming other instruments yourself and shit in there. It's very obnoxious because of the DJ stuff, but it's got a lovely skip button. Don't know why they made any cutscenes for this game. Seems like they could have saved themselves a few $1,000s. But yeah, as far as the technology goes of mixing all that music together,
It's not an easy thing to do.
End of Z Games last week, I did a DJ set. I just plugged in my Switch, and I'm like, I'm going to do 3 minutes of Fuser. Like, enjoy, everyone. I'm going to try to make some monsters.
Nice.
And I think the only thing that I wish it had, and I thought Drop Mix had something like this, but I'm not quite sure, is just like an auto mode. Just let it automatically play itself in the background at a party. Because
Yeah, I think Drop Mix, you could stack a certain number of cards and it would
just
it
cycle
could track
through
them
or
all.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll never catch on like Guitar Heroes and everything,
No.
because that was so clear of a game. And this
It was
is
obvious
like,
how it worked and how they scored.
yeah, if you say, oh,
Like,
have a go
I
at
can't
this.
think of how you could fail or win.
Yeah, like, because once you've got through everything, you mainly play it in free play and you make good mixes. And you time it right, you can just make an actual good song. And you could record that off and just have it. Not that that's in the game, you'd have to use an aux out for that. But you could never, you give it to someone at a party and they'd be able to drop songs on it and go like, oh, this is a funny mix, but they'd never be able to do it well. They'd have to train.
Yeah.
And whilst I think that is a weakness, it's like the technology they've built here is insane. Like, I can take the guitars from Killing of the Name Of and put it with all-star lyrics and push it bass line and it just works. And sometimes they are a bit monstrous, but it just fucking works. And that technology is wild.
I'm glad they found a use for it.
Yeah.
Because it just always felt kind of
It was
wasted on...
It was a really cool tech demo as Drop Mix.
Because I've got one. Remember, like a...
Yeah.
And it's like, it's cool. You put the cards on. I think I tried to play it once, and no one really understood what the point of the game was, and then you just went back to just putting cards on it.
Just making songs.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was Fuser. And then my last game, which I am kind of shocked that nobody has said this word so far, because it is one of the most popular games of all time at this point. Among Us.
See, because you very specifically mentioned it in the Discord, I was like, I'm not putting that on the list. I'm not even going to guess it, because Paul's directly stated it at this point.
That's what Doom Eternal knocked off.
Yeah. So it almost got in for you, yeah.
That does deserve to be on the list.
Yes.
The recent status on it, apparently monthly, it has 500 million players.
Yeah.
I think, yes, technically it was out.
Well, yeah.
3 years ago, whatever.
It had a top player count of 19 when it
but
released.
No,
and now it has 500 million.
That's where I'm like, it's yes, technically, and I same thing when I was talking to Zed Games people, I was like, look, yes, it's games released this year, but also because of the nature of early access and live games and just the fact that sometimes
discovered games
a game does not make an impact. Like, you don't just go back and say, like, oh, I happen to play a very old game this year, so it's in my list. Like, that's a bit random. But if a very old game suddenly was like one of the biggest things in the planet, of course it is part of this year.
I want to know what their back end is.
Well, it says a lot about how well a game is done when programmers behind it actively choose to go, you know what, we'll just deal with the shitty programming we've done rather than do it from scratch.
Well,
we'll just have that hard mode.
I'm just kind of curious, what's scaling.
Yeah.
What do they use? And there are probably some which can do it. I don't know if they're using maybe Photon or I don't know, one of the many out there. But whatever they've chosen,
It did scale up rapidly, very well. They didn't have a lot of issues.
So
fired off.
Whatever their server backend is, I'm very impressed. It's gotten that big and
not failed.
Yeah.
Okay, boys, get your pieces of paper ready.
Okay.
Now I'm going to do a top 4
I have 2 special mentions.
Because below the top 4, it just becomes like we got ones high, and that's sort of they're not really ordered after that. So number 4 in our game of the year is Paradise Killer. Animal Crossing at number 3. Spiritfarer comes in at number 2. And that means that Hades.
Yeah.
3-way Hades, so it doesn't affect the scores at all.
I think we all knew it was going to be
I
Hades.
think we all knew it was Hades because it's a great game that everyone enjoyed.
Yeah.
But everyone gets a slightly bigger number because of that. Yay. So that gives Sam 8 points.
That's more than I thought.
James 12 points. And Paul 17 points. Because I'm a big fat nerd. So before we finish up with that, I think we all have a couple of extra ones that we didn't actually get mentioned today.
Honorable mentions. I've
got my full list of games. Oh no, I still got some out. It's only 60 games.
Extra.
Why didn't we talk about XCOM Chimera Squad?
Well, that was honorable mentions I had were XCOM CNC Remaster. I did actually have Final Fantasy 7, but I just couldn't really put it on there.
Said if I had a note of basically if only Kingdom 2 Crowns had come out this year.
Kingdom Majestic did come out this year.
But that's not the one you're playing.
Platform, but it's part of the bundle. Kingdom Majestic is a bundle, and it's in there.
You buy the game, and that's what you get.
Yeah. Otherwise, that actually would have been quite. If I could have put Kingdoms 2 Crowns, it would have actually been quite high. I really like that game.
Any other mentions?
My special mention would be to Helltaker.
What's Helltaker?
It is that very small puzzle game that blew up in art form with the Demon Monster Girls.
Oh.
The reason it's not high is because I think I got just over an hour to finish it. It's very small, but it's very tightly developed. Has a banging soundtrack, beautiful art, well done puzzles, and I mostly just want to see that dev do more. It's the first game they've ever made, and it was just I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's just very short.
I had 2 games, both of which I haven't mentioned on the show.
Also, the special edition comes with a recipe for pancakes, so right up there.
That's a good thing to have. Okay, my free work, one that I've only played last week, Monster Train. Have you played Monster Train?
No.
Play Monster Train.
It is fixed all of the things that
Slay the Spire.
Slay the Spire has
So
issues. As far as I'm concerned,
yes and no. It's on Game Pass now, which is how I got access to it. Because it's like I don't want to. It also has the weirdest thing. It's called Monster Train, and it's about you're defending a train, and angels and other such things are coming in to try and stop you and your monsters from going to your.
So this is a card game.
It's
like
a card
Slay
game.
the Spire.
Yep. Except so each round they'll start at the first room and then they'll go to the next. And so each round the monsters will move forward unless you have something that stops them. I mean the good guys will go forward unless something stops them. Here's the thing: it's called Monster Train, but that progression is vertical.
But it should be in a train.
it should be. Yeah.
It's just one really tall carriage.
It's a monster of a train.
Yeah, they really fucked the concept.
I'm kind of out now.
So, but it's done for readability. It's
Yeah.
like I bet the original version was long, and they're like, it's just better if we do it vertical. Who gives a shit? So, Monster Train is great as a card game in that, unlike most card games, which is about sort of scraping through, putting a prayer, it's about empowering you. It's about giving you everything you want. And it's like, so this is my most powerful card. And you're like, what if we made it 50 times more powerful? It's like, that would be nice. And what's this next thing you give me? It's like, well, how about if you could make 5 of them? Okay, that's nice. And it just, and it's about identifying synergies and everything, and making you still come up with really good strategies, but you're not going to be shitted at a disadvantage and always struggling. You're going to have a good time, and you can start turning up the difficulty, and it's a very hardcore game. It's not quite as meticulous as something like Save the Spire, but it communicates very well, and it's like it's almost like baby's first card game. It's still pretty complex, but you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
I'm just killing the shit out of
I found with
things.
Slay the Spire, like there was so many points in it where like you could lose 10 turns down the line if you played a few cards out of order.
Yeah.
Like you have to be really careful. You're always scraping by, and Monster Train's got none of that. You're doing okay the whole time at least.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you're
and
like,
it's fun.
and it seems between rounds, it's like there's like 3 stops where you can just get shit and sell stuff and buy stuff, and it's like you can do so much. It's like, would you like to get rid of 10 of your most useless cards? Like, yes, I would in a draw game. Yes, goodbye. I accidentally was the first game I was playing.
Is this on iPhone as well? Or just
I don't
I have
think
no
it's on
idea.
any phones.
Don't know.
Let's have a look.
I'm playing it on PC, but the first one I was playing Heartless, and I didn't realize that you couldn't heal Heartless creatures.
Hence the name.
Yes, and I had half my deck were healing cards, so every time I'm like, get rid of as many bloody cards as possible.
No, not on phone.
No, Monster Train's very cool. And the other game, which was a real surprise for me, I put in a bit of time into it, was Teardown.
Oh,
So-
was that the one which had the mechanic?
Yeah,
that
it
we
was
were wondering where the game was.
Yes,
Yeah.
Here's
and
the sandbox, and
Yeah.
here's the mechanic pasted on top.
so we're wrong.
Okay.
The game is a really good game. It's a voxel physics
I haven't
simulator.
played it, but
Yeah.
I would agree with you there from what I've seen.
Yeah, the things you need to do and line up and work out. Like, there's just a few like knock down the building
voxel
levels.
puzzle
And they're
game.
a bit naff. But when it comes to like, okay, so you need to steal these cars in 30 seconds as soon as you start stealing cars. So where can you get all the cars to do a thing? It gets really creative, and it's like, because especially when they show the demo, it's like I'll just blast through this wall. I'll just blast through this wall. Look, I've made a pathway for me to escape. Because if you don't remember the game, it's a sandbox. It's open and it's fully destructible. And an alarm goes off when you start doing the task, and then you've got to do the task as fast as possible. So it's a speed running game, but you get to set up your run. And that seemed like a bit naff when we were watching the premiere. One, it's much harder to do that destruction than that demo made it look, because they were just showing off an easy example. So you have to start being really creative. It's like, well, if I break these pipes here, they'll bend down and make a ramp up and do...
There's a lot more like material interaction going on.
Yeah, it's very original, very cool. And I just wish I'd put a little bit more time into it so far because it's still early access, but it's a big game.
There
That's
was
quite a lot.
There was a game that may have been in my list, but I only found out it existed today.
Oh yes,
Which was actually, you guys discussed on an episode that I wasn't here, which was There Is No Game.
Yes.
Oh yes, yeah. I haven't played it yet.
Wrong Dimension or something like that. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, because I love There Is No Game.
It's lovely.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that was a free little thing, which is super fun. So I bought it. Like I saw it, like I'm buying that
It's on
straight
sale
away.
at the moment,
Yeah,
isn't it?
like I'm
Yeah.
getting it straight away, and I'll play it. But there's a real chance that one could have been on my list.
It's real. I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and if only I bought you Space Court earlier, you could have played that.
Space what?
Space Court. I bought it for you earlier today. Go and check your
He
Steam.
hasn't even seen it
Space
yet.
Court. It's in your Steam list.
Is it? I haven't checked my email much today. So
Go check Space Court.
Oh, you did. Thank you. What is Space Court?
Is it a
Space
court in
Court.
space?
I
Oh,
found it a few
Judge
days
Judy
ago.
in space.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll see whatever the hell it is when I get home. I have no idea what
Your
Space
biggest
Court is.
game of the year,
I mean,
apparently.
I like space things, so Thank you.
Cool. And straight enough, we have quite a varied taste in the possible 30 that we could
This
have
year has
had.
been weird.
Well,
We had 24 games, so we only
Yeah.
actually had a little bit of crossover.
Well, remember when putting this list together, we were commenting of like,
Yeah.
oh shit, this is actually kind of hard.
it's a
this
weird
year.
year.
It's
Yeah.
an odd
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Really, the real game of the year has been real life.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
I mean, last year was so simple.
yeah.
Had Outer Wilds.
You know
just
how,
a
like,
bunch
we had
of,
Disco
Outer
Elysium.
Wilds,
We had
not
Death
Outer
Stranding.
Wilds.
You know
then
how,
some dickhead putting Outer Worlds in his game.
yeah. You know how like
No Space Court for you.
there seems to be this like idea that 2020 is over soon.
Yeah, it's
and
not, though.
it's
It's just gonna
it's a shitty
continue.
year. We'll be in 2021 soon.
Yeah, it'd be good.
like
12
it's
minutes
gonna
comes
be.
out in like the first quarter. It'll be great.
And like something's magically
Now,
going to
didn't we
change.
cancel all game releases?
After 12 minutes.
No.
Oh, no, after Animal Farm.
It was after Animal Farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just something I've noticed. There's this sentiment of 2020
Yeah,
is
it's
over.
not like the day change from
Yeah.
the 31st
Yeah.
is going to
Yeah.
really change
Yeah.
the state of the world.
like
We're in Australia. It's we're
Yeah.
fine.
It's all
yeah.
right.
in Queensland.
Western Australia's doing alright. They're like,
Tassy's doing alright.
they're like the COVID safe capital.
Yeah.
Okay. Good list, guys. It ended pretty much exactly as I thought
I
it
like
would.
that we had so much variation, but we did at least like.
Oh,
we
well, this-
all knew
we
Hades
agreed on
was
those
the
Yeah,
tops
this
of
this
year.
was a no-brainer. Hades was
Yeah.
gonna yeah.
Yes.
Says a lot.
Not my number one, but an obvious number one.
Yeah.
Much like Disco Elysium last year. Which, remember,
Oh, that
DLC
that new edition.
fully voiced
I'm
coming.
so excited. And on
I
Switch.
think I'm rebuying it on Switch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like when I was playing that, like I really like it, but God, I wish this thing was handheld.
Did you see this the special edition?
I did. I really want it.
It's like 250
I know.
bucks US.
It's so
I'm like,
expensive.
no!
But it's so beautiful.
Oh, they got a cool
The
T-shirt.
problem I
at
have
least.
with
I was
most
thinking about
special
buying a
editions
T-shirt.
these days,
Oh.
I look at them, they've just been ramped up so hard. It's like, it's so nice, but also so much money.
One of the things I found, because we're cleaning up for Baby Room,
Uh-huh.
I found my unused.
Condom.
No.
It's baby. It's a baby joke. It's like-
No. I'm trying to think what they called it before they started. A Double Fine Adventure poster.
oh yes.
Like pre had a name, where it's just like.
Yeah.
But yeah, completely mint because I never took it out of the.
Mine's a bit damaged.
Yeah.
Money.
I'll pay you $5. You're like, no.
No.
Just a straight trick.
I'll keep my one, thank you. One day I'll be able to get it up.
Mine's going to look vintage because it's
I
so beat
found-
up.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned earlier, I did find my battle chest copy of Warcraft 3.
Oh, did
My
you?
original
Yeah.
double stack battle chest with the manuals still
Nice.
intact. I was like,
Nice.
look at that up, and it's like $20.
Nice.
Turns out there's a lot of them.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I think that brings us to the end of this game of the year. Thank you for joining us in this 2020, which was the best 2020 that we've ever had and ever will have. Yeah, so stop complaining. We did a good job. Everyone, well, except for one person.
I didn't do a good job.
No, I just mean in the world. There's one specific
I like
person.
that
I'm thinking
what you
of.
did said anyone that is slightly insecure. I just thought, oh, he's talking about me.
Exactly. I have been Paul.
I've been James.
I've been Sam.
And we'll hopefully see you for a fresh new year, and we'll probably soon have a look at the year coming forward, because there's quite a lot of cool stuff maybe happening if we don't all perish.
Fingers crossed.
Bye.